first big tour back, I mean, I can't even believe it's here. What the hell just happened? It's just kind of like how I feel. I'm like, what? I mean, I never really stopped, but at the same time, it's like, I've never in my life or your life or probably anybody else, our peers, I don't know how old you are, but 30s, 40s year olds, nobody's ever seen anything like that before, I'm
going to say anyone less than about 100 has never seen this before.
Yeah. Anybody, I mean, yeah.
1917 was really kind of the last time this went down in this major of a way here. It
was insane, man. So it's just good to be, going and playing shows, already selling a lot of tickets, so that just it's a blessing, man, to be back and working.
You get anxious though? I mean, just because it's been so long since you've been doing this?
Hell no. No, not at all. No anxiety here. I'm just ready to go do it.
You feel like prior to all this that you were taking it for granted a little bit? I mean, obviously, like it can be hard when you're in the throes of it and have been on the road for a long time.
When you're in the middle of it, and I guess before COVID, you'd always look for what's not right about your situation. Can you do better? And not about what the positivity of being able to do what you do every night, whether there's 10 people in a room or 10,000. And like just understanding that people are going out of their way to come see you. And that's just it's incredible to have that support. And before, you'd be like, damn, we didn't sell it out. There's still a couple hundred people there, or whatever. It's like, dude, it's not what it's about. So it definitely reformed my outlook.
You've been on the ascent for a while, obviously, but you really were right before this happened. And this, it's just a really good way to take the wind out of somebody's sails for a full 2 years of not being able to tour.
Man, it seems like my life, everything from getting picked out on the football field all the way up, it's just like, it's been tough, but I've had to prove myself. I had to prove myself. I wasn't picked at first, and then I was picked, and then I was really good. And then, I worked at this, and now it's just like, never got signed by a major label. Nobody ever wanted to take the risk with me because I've always been so outspoken and not giving a damn about any of the, system, or the whole rigmarole of the business. And, finally we were making it, and it got shut down, but everybody's life got shut down, not just mine. So I'm looking at it now, and I'm just now every gig I'm thankful to take, and I'm blessed to have a band, people that support me.
You feel like your mouth's gotten you in trouble when it comes to that stuff?
I mean, with my dad, he didn't like country AF. Can we cuss on this?
Yeah, please.
Okay. He doesn't like country as fuck at all. And I'm coming from a conservative Christian upbringing. Can't win them all.
What happened?
You get the family, or you get the flack. They'll be like, what about one day when your son's wearing that, or if you have a child one day, if it comes in and says country AF on it or whatever. I'm just, well,
I guess I meant what happened to you, coming from a conservative background and ended up differently. Something happened somewhere down the road.
Oh yeah. I went to jail. I was always a black sheep of my family. I don't give a shit. I love Christians. I love atheists. I love liberals. I love Republicans. I'm not here to point a finger and tell anybody whatever religion they believe in that they're wrong. And, being in a religion or super packed down to one, I believe that leaves you open to point fingers. And I'm just not really a religious man anymore. I don't think I am opposed to being a part of a church at all. Like, I would love to be a part of one again one day, but I'd like to touch base and read up on a lot of different religions and doctrines and, understand more than just my one little circle of what I've been taught and how I've been told to believe. I believe when people just bite on that and use that as their bait and they just hooked on it their whole life, they leave themselves in a very, very small box, and they don't have, life is so short. You don't have the time to believe a lot of things. I mean, it's like you're so young and impressionable, and then that's what you believe in. And me, I do believe I was young and impressionable, but at the same time, I was always wondering why, or asking the questions. And I'm a full believer in God, spirit, and karma, and goodwill. I believe in good morals and a moral compass, and throughout the world, though. I don't believe just here in East Texas, right here in Church of Christ Church, right here in my little circle. That's who I'm praying for. This is it. My congregation right here. Like, I think that's just small. And I'm trying, my net's going to cast a lot further than that. So my impression, what I want people to think about me is, man, that guy's like a preacher, but he's a preacher I can have a beer with that isn't going to judge me, that just talks about, in his songs about his life. And maybe you can take from it and gain something good out of it that'll help your day. And I believe that's what my music is here to do. It's kind of like my own sermon, without having to beat it down somebody's throat at a certain time in the morning or a certain day. Like, I can do it Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and do it again the next week.
You don't think religion, well, certainly a specific religion, but maybe religion generally is necessary in order to have a moral compass?
Not at all. I don't believe that. I believe a moral compass can be within any human, whether they're a believer or not. That's just like, do you have a gut feeling to do something good for something other than yourself in any moment of the day, whether it's opening up the door for an old lady or helping somebody with their groceries or giving the homeless person $20 or whatever it may be, I believe that just being a good person, I believe there's a lot of people that don't go to church that are great people, that can be just good people, and they act on it rather than talking about it maybe every Sunday morning, Sunday night, and Wednesday night. I try to put my faith is strong in God, and I believe Jesus was one of the first rock stars. That's kind of how I talk to people about Jesus. It's just like, he's a cool dude. A lot of people had a lot of good stories, and I bet these stories have been skewed and changed over years and generations. But still, we can take and relate from certain things. You can take some things to heart. Some things maybe you don't want to take fully to heart right now because it's been, thousands of years. It's a fine line there. I love Christian people. I love Christianity. I love the Quran. I love, Buddhism. I love, people that have different beliefs. And I like freaks of the world. I like people that are just like spiritual gurus. Like, I follow the guru, on a lot of gurus and different people that teach meditation and teach about higher elements of thinking and breathing. I'm not boxable. That's why my music, it's like one song is this and the next song is that. Dude, I'm a bipolar freaking wreck of a human that has it together.
I think when it comes to trying to sign with a major or breaking through, I think that sort of impulse to make your songs wildly different from one to another is as much of an impediment as being, outspoken.
Well, nobody's just has ever been able to tell me what to do ever. And that's why I went to jail. And that's why, basically I got kicked out and was put on my own for a long time, cut off and things like that. And it's what sculpted me to be who I am. And I just, I've been an against the grain kind of human, and sometimes it's a beating, but now it's very rewarding because I'm out, kind of built my own little island. I got my hands on some tools and have a team around me, and we're kind of invincible to any industry now. Like, as far as invincible, when I say that, I mean, like, our crew, we're not cutting any corners for the first time. We have people looking at this from all circles on how we can better the front, the show, the marketing online, the artwork, the music videos. Like, everything that we do is very calculated now. And it took me being on the earth 35 years and in the business 15 to really figure it out and to get a team that's just brings as much as I do to the table. All the way around, and without each element, we wouldn't even be talking here, I wouldn't even be putting out music. So I feel lucky.
It sounds like you were already on that path or on that journey prior to going to jail, but did that cement things to you? I mean, how profound of an impact do you feel like that had on you where you were and your future course?
Oh man, I just feel like it made me not judge people anymore.
So it had a positive impact in a sense.
Oh yeah, big time. I wouldn't take it back for the world. I got more.
You don't hear that. You don't hear that from everybody who gets arrested.
No, I wouldn't take it back. I did almost 90 days, and that's not a hard time, but enough to understand what the hell it means to have your freedom taken away. Understanding that this man with no teeth next to you, they're spending the same amount of money on that guy as they are with you, who's lucky to have a mouthful of teeth because you went to the dentist. We're all the same. You know what I mean? And in jail, everybody's the same. That's what's cool about it, really. There is no middle class, upper class, or lower class in jail. Upper class is somebody who's been there longer. That's the only way you get upper class. You got a little bit more
seniority.
Cool. Seniority. That's the only class difference. Skin color, nothing matters. I became friends with a bunch of hood motherfuckers in that sumbitch. Like there were some dudes in there that had done hard time and gotten in and out, been in and out, and like had stories of big fights broke out and shit happened. Shit, and all my stuff got stolen. And then me and 3 of these gangster dudes went into another tank and had to get all of my food and all my stuff back. These hood Tejano guys that were no good with the teardrop tattoo kind of humans, There's just moments in there where you're scared to death. Moments in there I felt at peace. Moments in there it was like a rehab. I didn't have any booze or any distractions. I read a lot. Yeah, jail kind of was a free rehab. Thank you, taxpayers.
You can't really compare having been in jail in the past 2 years. Obviously, like now you can still, leave your house and go outside and still engage with certain things. From a time standpoint, 2 years is a long time to do this, but do you feel that you emerged from this experience and that experience with a similar sense of what you needed to do with yourself?
Yeah. I mean, when I got out, I was just ready to, I knew that I wasn't going to be able to get any good job interviews or any good offers from jobs or get back into school. It was just, I was already turned 20 in jail and I was just like, it's time to go. So I moved up to Colorado where they had a little less harsh laws on marijuana because I've been a marijuana smoker since I was about 12 years old. Because when I was very young, my family kind of, they got divorced and, I went to school and got into a bunch of trouble and they had me on a bunch of Ritalin and ADD medications and shit. And so I got off all that shit and started smoking weed because, in the mornings I just wake up and I'm a ball of energy and I'm anxiety. And I use it medicinally since I was about 12 or 13 and got in trouble for it the whole way up and got put in jail for it. And then got out, moved to Colorado and lived up there for almost 4.5 years, moved back to West Texas, out to Lubbock. After that, Lubbock and Abilene, kind of just trolled around West Texas for a while. And I moved back to Tyler for a bit, got some money saved up, and got a brown van with a blue stripe, old 1995 G20 Chevy van, and moved down to San Marcos, Texas, where I started Sons of Fathers in 2010, and then, or 2009, 2010, I think. And, that band kicked off for a while. We got national press. It was fun and kind of taught me the ropes. And I just moved on. The band broke up, kept trucking. 2014, put out a record, put out another EP, put out a full length in 19. COVID. Here we are. Now we're putting out a new one, Country Coming Down, April 1st.
I don't want to shit talk medication too much. I know, a lot of people in my own life have definitely benefited from it. And, there are a lot of people out there who do. But do you feel that in your own instance that they're trying to medicate some of that sort of personality out of you or some of that rebellion out of you?
100%, dude. I 100% believe that kids does need to be on amphetamine. That is speed. It's legal. Fucking doctors speed. It's cocaine, it's meth, it's crack, it's the same shit. I don't care who. ADD is a false fucking thing, in my opinion. I think it's just kids getting into their skin. They're learning how they process life. And we need more teachers and more counselors, I guess, and more principals. And they need to be paid more because this is a big job. Kids do not their brains need to develop and they don't need to be skewed. And their serotonin and their dopamine and everything should not be throttled up and throttled down by drugs and medication before they reach a certain age, before they get their puberty, before their brain is totally developed. Then you can start realizing, okay, what kind of energy does this kid have? Is he low on this kind of oil? Does he need this? Does he need that? And that's what needs to be recognized in a child. Not, oh, this kid's a little wild. Let's stuff fucking 60 milligrams of Adderall and Concerta and Vyvanse and all this shit down his throat and shut him up and make him so fucking high that his teeth are gritting and that he sits there like this. That's not the way we treat children. And I will be forever a fighter against that kind of medication. Speed. It's speed. Amphetamine. Like, that's just one. Now, there's kids that are bipolar, that are schizophrenic, there's certain things that kids need medication. I'm not saying kids don't need medication. Kids don't need fucking amphetamine.
Yeah, I'm certainly not an expert in it. I don't know if I necessarily agree that ADD isn't a thing or an issue with some of them, but I unquestionably think that I
think there is,
the net is cast way too wide, right?
It's a hyperactive disorder. And yes, you can call it this or that, but I don't think it's worth prescribing somebody speed to change. You learn how to, what makes this kid tick? What is this kid going to be good at? Is he terrible at math? Why in the hell do we worry about him busting his head open and being pissed at himself because he's not good at math? He might be good at science. Let's throw him here. You know what I mean? Let's figure out what kids are good at. Let's, and not get frustrated with trying to harness them or put a bit in their mouth by using fucking amphetamine. I'm talking amphetamine. I'm not talking about any other drugs.
No, for sure. I think what you're advocating here is more investment in education, and actually getting, taking the time, because we're talking about like teachers with 30, 40 kids in a classroom, actually paying that specific attention to a single one is impossible.
It's impossible. And, teachers should be paid more than anybody else, because that is our world, the kids. I was unfortunately in the years of growing up where, prescribing children was heavy. I was a guinea pig and I have to live with it, And my granddad told me one day, he's like, "What's wrong, son?" He picked me up from school and I said, "This medication," I was like 9. So this medication makes me not act like myself. Like it takes my personality away. The things I like about myself goes away. And he said, "Well, son, from now on, when they give you that medication, you put it under your tongue and you figure out a way to throw that shit away. And you just try to you keep it together in that class and know that you're a little bit wild and you're a little bit rambunctious and you're a little fidgety and you need to keep your mouth shut when it's time to keep your mouth shut. And you need to listen when it's time to listen. And you need to have fun when it's time to have fun." And that's what he told me. And I took that lesson for the rest of my life on how to act. Yeah, did I take some rocky roads and get caught with pot and go to jail and all this shit? Yeah, but I'm still a good person. And I still understand that no drug can ever really rule me. Maybe one can help me, which marijuana does for me personally. Some people it's a wreck for, so it's like, it's different strokes for different folks. And I believe in medication. I believe in doctors. I believe in medicine, but I don't believe in over prescribing a kid that may be artsy fartsy and bouncing off the walls.
Your grandfather was probably what I'd say the single biggest influence on you and your life. It sounds like. Yeah,
definitely.
I mean, beyond that, he was a big music guy too. I mean, did he give you your first guitar?
Yeah, he did. He did. I was about 6 years old. Came in, he kicked his boot up on this red bunk bed, and I was sleeping. He came in there singing Ring of Fire by Johnny Cash, and he had this guitar, and I looked up. I noticed it wasn't his guitar. He was like, "No, this one's yours. Happy birthday." That's what happened. I can still remember. Coming
from multiple generations in the church, I mean, obviously, musical family, but do you get the sense that it was difficult for them to kind of reconcile like secular music and being in the church? Oh, man, it was just night and day. It was like we'd leave church and then we would come home and my granddad strap on the guitar and my grandmother would go and they'd sing Jackson, and they'd do the duets in front of the whole family and just enjoyed it. They loved both. You just don't cross the streams. But they kept it separate, dude. Yeah. I remember I took a guitar, an acoustic guitar, into a Church of Christ one time. It was during like the youth group hangout, like in the gymnasium area. Like I brought it in there and they're like, "You take that out." I grew up Jewish, so this is a completely foreign world to me. But, I know obviously there are a lot of churches, especially like youth groups, that embrace the guitar.
Oh, yeah. That's just not the Church of Christ. And there's a lot of things I love about the Church of Christ. And there's people out here that are going to listen to this that are Church of Christ. And I'm not here to talk bad about the Church of Christ at all. But they're pretty hard-nosed, you know. They were definitely, there was a lot of no, lots of no's. And me being the wild, rambunctious, ADD kid, overprescribed amphetamines that I was, you know, I was pretty wild and I got in trouble my whole life. I was in trouble. You know, I was a troublemaker. I wasn't ever mean or bully or anything like that, but I was just, you know, I love to laugh and cut up. And, you know, when I wanted to bring my acoustic guitar into the gymnasium, one of the elders came and said, nope, not going to have that. Our music's only sung by our voice, and that's for the Lord, you know.
I'm sure it's hard to imagine where you'd be in life and what kind of trouble you would have gotten into if you hadn't discovered music.
Who knows, man? All I know is that being traveled, I'm well versed with people and humans, and we're a lot alike all across the world. People like to laugh. People like to cut up. People like to be serious. People cry. You know, anybody deserves a break. And I do believe that. And I've tried to make it known in my life now that that I'm more successful and we do better. I try to give as much as I can. I don't have to give in a church, say every Sunday, but I go and I try to help somebody that's down and out. And you know when that is. You can feel it. Like when you double pump or double think, look at somebody when they're just
double take. Yeah.
Double take. There's a reason what that feeling is. And I believe that's gone.
You're talking about what, just like walking past somebody on the street and giving them a couple bucks, or
even that, or, you know, there's just, you know, try to help family members or somebody that would never expect it, you know, or somebody that's not asking, maybe. Just random acts of kindness is really what it comes back to. And I kind of thrive off of that, you know, now. It's that's my church, and that's what I've taken from it. Not having to tithe or give a percentage of my earnings unless, you know, I feel called or compelled to do so.
As I've gotten older, you know, it's dawned on me that I may never be at a point in my life where I'm going to be able to, you know, like affect any sort of major change in the world. The base level of every person on earth should be to leave the world at least slightly better than you found it.
Yeah. Somehow, some way. It's not always about material things or money, you know, to help somebody, to be a friend or to be a listener, really, or to ask somebody how they're truly doing and mean it. I think that is a good compass in life, like a moral compass. And it doesn't have to be churchy or from the Bible or any type of doctrine or anything. You know, it's just goodwill. That's about it, you know. So we can talk about doing things for people all the time, or you can go do something for somebody. Because a lot of people talk about it. Yeah. Who actually does it?
Talk about it. And when they do it, they want credit for it.
And then they're going to be online telling people what they get. You know what I mean? I don't have to
doing it for Instagram.
I'm not going to go through my list of good deeds just to be validated. Just
you described
proofs in the pudding on how you act and how you treat people. And by the time you get off this earth, there's going to be enough people out there that are going to be able to make a good assumption if you're an asshole or if you're a nice person. And legacy is all we got.
At the top of the conversation, I think he kind of made a reference to your music as being your sermon. And I'm curious what that means. You know, obviously you're not preaching necessarily in a literal sense.
No, I just allow the Spirit to kind of work its magic with me. And I'm called to do this. It's something else. Sometimes my band, you know, it surprises me what can happen. The possibilities are endless with this crew, and everybody in the crew has a good compass inside their hearts, and everybody's worked their ass off their whole life to get to where they're at. And everybody can be fine on their own, but everybody just enjoys working together. And it's a beautiful thing. This tour is going to be incredible. It's going to be monumental for us to really just pour in our dates, you know, pour in some time. That's how bands get really good. You know, you can be a good band, but wait, it's like it's like a baseball team, you know? It just feels like this off season's been a long ass time.
Yeah. Yeah. It's that thing of them all saying that I'm in the best shape of my life, and they're all like 20 pounds heavier than they were when the season ended.
For sure, man.
I think he used the word calling. I mean, there's a sense in which it sounds almost spiritual, and that, you feel like it's what you were put here for. Yeah,
100%. It is. I call on, I have a weird way of trying to, my prayer life is big, and I talk out loud in my head to God about what I'm trying to accomplish. And I always have been the entire time, whether that was church that embedded that in me, but it's my own way of keeping sane. I always say, God, use me as a tool. I'm here as a tool, and let me do something great for these people tonight that paid to come see me, and allow my band and us to fall into a pocket deeper than we ever have. In the Lord's name I pray, amen. And then I go hit that stage, and then a blanket of ease comes over me. And ever since I was a kid, it's been like that. Right when I get up there on the stage, it's just like a blanket. It's like everything's lifted off, and it's like, here you go, dude. You're in your element. Go rip it. Just thankful to be able to do what I'm really called to do.
Everybody has bad days. Maybe you're feeling a little bit sick, or as you said before, maybe there aren't as many people in the audience as you'd like, but you still enter that pocket regardless.
Got to, you bite your lip. And you just freaking go and, take away the ego out of your vision and what you're seeing. Because if it's one person's life you touched that night who pulled them out of maybe a moment of depression, or helped a relationship, made two people that thought that it was about to end, enjoy themselves together and be married, or whatever it might be. It only takes one. And that can be a janitor that works at the venue, didn't even pay for a ticket. And it's been that before, where that janitor has hit me up on Facebook. And now, when I'm out in Lexington, Kentucky, this guy comes with his family, I impressed him, it did something for that guy. I hope that I can do that for as many people as I can. And then I hope I peacefully just take my last breath at about 99 years old. I'm that 90 the day before I played the best round of golf of my life, and I just passed away.
You could do a G.G. Allen and just die on stage.
Yeah, hopefully not. Yeah, bam, man.
You mentioned helping other people out of depression, but I know, and specifically, I think on your last record, it sounded like you were kind of going through it yourself, and recording was a way of getting through it.
That's what Room 41 did. It was my own little. I found myself, my true self, and what I'm, I've kind of figured out how to really work like I've said, my engine mentally. Sometimes you can lose track of it. And like, if you go through heartache and you're in a dark spot in your life, it's easy to fall into a twisted fate, and it's hard to dig yourself out. But when you do dig yourself out, it's like taking your first breath of air, and for me, fortunately, cutting a record helped me through that, and being around my producers and my best friends helped me get through that. And this album is just me taking what I love to do live. And that was always the question: is this song gonna freaking bump live? Is this gonna make their ass dance, or is this gonna make them cry? Is this gonna make them feel what? It was all fan based for these songs on this album. It's the first time I did that. I wasn't thinking about what I like, I was thinking about what they like. And so that's why I'm just like, good God, there's feels like hit after hit, because it's just like what they like is what I'm supposed to play. And I finally figured that out. So it took this long. So why not just do that? So
listen, man,
simple when you think about it. Just play what they like.
It's like everything else in life. It's one of those things that seems really obvious in hindsight, but maybe not so much at the time. There is obviously there's some irony there at recording your a very much live album for a live setting during a period when you haven't been able to be on the road in 2 years. Are those two things connected?
No, man. Just we did cut a lot of stuff live. We didn't ever really stop. We masked up and did stuff like that. But we kept trucking, kept our head down, tried to be creative as much as we could. I cut this record, shit. When did I start? I cut it in like January and February of 2021, I think. Not mistaken. It might be the year before. Everything's kind of a blur, but I'm stoked on it. I'm stoked to be able to get more material out. It's never a bad thing.
Maybe it's also a reaction to the last record in that it can be, even as much as you're in the pocket and enjoying playing live, if your last album is, in a sense, like a breakup record or an extremely emotional album, it's hard to do that every single night.
Oh, yeah. There's a couple of songs on Room 41 that are hard to deliver because it does take me back to those moments where I was in a dark place. But I always have to look at them and be like, man, there could be somebody out here that needs that song like I needed it. That's how I can play it. It's kind of like sometimes it's like singing a song at a funeral. Like you just got to bite your lip and get through it because the person who's dead there would love to hear you sing a song. You can't fold now, and then right on the last note, you usually fold like a $2 suitcase. So that's happened to me on stage with a few songs from Room 41. There's some wild tunes on this other one. So don't think that I'm just a tamed human because I never have been. And my wife and I, we're still wild as can be and have a great time. It's just, more mature good times. I'm just not out of the bars every single night anymore.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's about all that's changed.
Yeah. That's still a big change though. If that's something you've been doing for
change, man, I still love to go. Yeah. I'm not saying I'm not going to be in the bars, but it feels good. My mental health is better than it's ever been. Let's put it like that. And, and it comes in waves. Some days you'll hit the pavement with, why am I pissed off? Sometimes I'm like hitting myself like, dude, you've got like a blanket of pissed off energy going on. Why? And you're just like, okay, stop being pissed. Nothing to be pissed about. You're lucky to be alive, breathing, walking outside. Usually taking a walk helps.
This is, when you get older and there's a certain point in your life, if you are somebody who's a heavy drinker or partier and when you kind of look around and you're like, oh man, is this getting depressing? Am I getting depressing?
Don't let it be sad. If you're sad, you shouldn't probably be partying. Probably be trying to find a happy thing to celebrate about.
Are you still able to kind of have that same sense of catharsis though on an album like this, where it is written in a very different way?
Oh yeah, you can feel that the albums, there's a little bit in each record that's still the same thread that is just that allows it to waver, whether it's the topic of a song, maybe more lovey-dovey than one record would have, or one song has something so edgy as Country as Fuck or Cocaine Country Dancing, or before that, it was kind of like Everybody Walking This Land was a big one that was just like, more of a political statement of just everybody, but just it's pretty much don't be a fucking asshole song. All of you, just all over the world, every race, every tribe, it's that song. So all these songs, you put them in a line, you can see that they're not preachy, but they all have an element to them that just kind of is cohesive. So it's fun to watch it grow because sometimes I'm just standing in the studio and I just had the song, on a guitar, and then all of a sudden it's blossoming and you're just like, wow, shit. It's like literally watching a flower grow.
Everything's kind of political now, but it sounds like your approach to politics is very similar to your approach to religion.
Yeah, pretty much. I hate radicals. Here's my politics. I think radical is wrong. I think being open-minded, looking at both sides of the sword and understanding that people are not going to agree and how to find a happy medium in between and with still being able to get shit done.
Calling out injustices when you see them.
That's all it is. Right from wrong. We know what it is. I just... I pray for our country. I pray for our people and pray for happiness around families and people that are less fortunate than me. That's what this world needs. It's just a bunch of smiles for a while,
Yeah. You mentioned kind of flirting with meditation earlier. Do you practice?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Every morning, meditate in the shower. Yeah.
I haven't tried the shower before.
Well, my granddad taught me how to meditate when I was young.
You waste a lot of water that way, right?
Well, yeah, you waste a lot of water. But it's a couple, it doesn't take 2 minutes. 2 minutes of breathing, you can change. You can change your whole it's like what I call just shaking out the Etch a Sketch, clearing out your brain. And I do it by breathing heavy, in and out, 1, in and out, 2, and use numbers, in and out. You think of a shape and a color. So I've always thought of like an orange triangle, and a triangle is always done. I put my head up against the wall in the shower and I run the hot water on my back and I put my hands to my side. And the reason why I put my head on the shower, because sometimes you'll breathe too far and you can buckle. I've almost nodded off because if you're tired, you may want to sit down in the shower. Like I'm not wanting people to go and fall out, because breathing deep, you can fall and lose control of your body real fast once meditation really starts working. And that's what the main goal is. And right when I'm starting to reach that euphoria of, it's like coming out of a sleep and I've forgotten what number I'm on and all I see is the orange triangle. And I just take one more breath and I open my eyes and I slam that water to cold as can be. And then I freeze my skin and my pores and I get out of there and I'm just refreshed, renewed, ready to go. Renewed, RENUDE, renewed. But I am just feeling good at that point. And it kind of just can change my attitude. I don't do it every morning, not every single morning, but 4 or 5 times, 4 times a week. If I'm feeling good, I'll skip and do a quick shower if I'm late or something. It's really, if I'm feeling anxious is when I have to do it, and I'm just glad I have something that I can do to myself that can relieve that anxious tension.